Skinner, Chapter 11, The Self and Others. Skinner discusses in this chapter the dilemma that the science of behavior faces in its study of the human organism. To the study of behavior analysis, a person is an organism. An organism is further defined as a member of the human species which has acquired a repertoire of behavior. Page 184. As discussed in previous chapters, Skinner reiterates that a person's repertoire is created by a complex method of contingencies of reinforcement. An important fact to take into consideration is that a person may have the same genetic makeup as another if they are identical twins. However, they will never have the same personal history. This is because, although each person may be experiencing the same environment at the same time, they will experience it differently and therefore build a different complex repertoire. Knowing oneself. Another area of difference is the way in which a behaviorist and a mentalist psychologist ask questions about self-knowledge. By the very nature of how they do this, they are going to elicit different responses. A psychologist is seeking to get the person to explore his feelings and therefore is looking for an emotional response to the question, for example, how are you feeling? A behaviorist, on the other hand, is asking that same question and is seeking to find the contingencies that have elicited that behavior. Knowing another person. In discussing knowing another person, Skinner discusses empathy, where a person projects his feelings onto another. He also believes that projecting one's feelings onto an inanimate object is a mistake or pathetic fallacy. Moreover, he believes that a person can fake his feelings with different parts of his body using a different set of repertoires. He gives an example of someone pretending to be brave in a situation where he is afraid. This behavior, he believes, is predicated on the contingencies. By changing the contingencies, he believes you can change the behavior. Managing oneself. Self-management and self-knowledge incur the very same questions. Rules are applied by analyzing contingencies and acting in a way that will be less aversive to the person and instead be more reinforcing. This is often referred to as the golden rule, which is do unto others as you would have them do unto you. He generalizes how you would feel if someone were to act in that manner towards you and just adjust your behavior accordingly based on its aversive or reinforcing potential. Managing others. This portion has the biggest impact on the effectiveness of behaviorism. There are several ways that managing others have seen successes and failures. Operant conditioning is the first. Operant conditioning is what makes a behavior more or less likely to occur in a certain situation. He believes that two of the biggest operators of operant conditioning are government and religion, and that it is based on the idea of punishment Positive reinforcers are usually personal, economic, educational, or similar other. A person will use these conditions to bring the other under their control. For example, a parent who pays out or withholds pocket money for chores as a reinforcer. The pocket money will be paid out if the chores are done. It will not be paid out if the chores are not done. Describing contingencies is the second. Describing contingencies are not the same as arranging contingencies. The two are often confused. Warning someone to always stop at a four-way crossing and placing a visible stop sign at the four-way crossing, forcing them to stop, are two different things. The warning is describing the contingency, and the sign is the contingency. Next is emotional and motivational measures. Emotional and motivational measures occurs when we do something that someone calls good based on the locus of behavior, which when strengthened is brought under the control of a given stimulus. We can create in the person the feeling for repaying a good deed to us as well. In simply explanations, we do something for someone that they think is good, and then they feel the need to do something else for us. The next one is teaching. Teaching has suffered severely from a mentalistic theory of learning in education. He believes strongly, however, that education can be stated in behavioral terms. Open quotations. A teacher arranges contingencies under which the student acquires behavior which will be useful to him under other contingencies later on. Close quotations, page 202. Despite this, he rightly argues that the teacher cannot bring enough of the real world of each student in the classroom to account for each contingency. This is often a failure that many parents and critics tend to overlook. Helping. Helping is a mentalistic problem, just like teaching, and it's a problem prone to psychoanalysts. They refer to the illness they are treating as mental, which restricts the very nature of the therapy they offer. They are often not equipped or willing to simulate the contingencies necessary to reinforce the behavior that needs attention. This is in direct opposition to the treatment offered by behavior analysis. Governing should refer to all management, but most often refer to politics and religion, which is most often as well punishing effects. Holding someone responsible does not follow that he has responsibility, and this often falls in the criminal justice system. Entertaining is the only true area in which reinforcement pays no attention to the contingencies. Both the provider and the receiver are reinforced solely by their own behavior. The artist is reinforced by the work he produces, and the person viewing the art is reinforced by seeing them. In conclusion, people used to say they knew themselves better than anyone else, but that might not be true. Babies at their earliest stages learn some methods of control over others. They know what type of cry will get them picked up and which won't. Children learn in school what behaviors are appropriate to gain the approval of their teachers. They do all these things before they knew who they are or even how they can control their body functions. The question for today is, using the knowledge you have gained so far this semester, state some ways that you as a teacher would use the knowledge you had acquired of the community from which the students in your classroom lived to prepare them for the contingencies they may encounter when they get home and try to complete their homework. Thank you for listening.